am a life and giving gifts, beautiful one, remove the stain of selfishness together with its roots and enter heaven blameless. Tissa told this story to her husband and he told it to monks and the monks told it to Buddha. Buddha made it a subject of discourse, after hearing which many lay persons became moved with generosity and gave up miserliness and became good donors and started earning merit of it. Story of Nanda. While the teacher was staying at Jetavana, he told this story of Peti Nanda. In a certain village not far from Savatthi there was a lay disciple called Nandasena, having faith and pious. His wife, however, who was called Nanda, was without faith, irreligious, avaricious, quick-tempered, rough in her speech, and disrespectful and disobedient to her husband. She would speak bluntly like a drum and indulge in abusive words. Dying and reborn as a Peti, she stayed near that same village. Then one day she appeared before the lay disciple Nandasena, as he was coming out of the village. When he saw her, he addressed her with this stanza. Dark and of ugly appearance you are. Your body is rough and you are horrible looking. You are red-eyed, you have yellow teeth. I think that you are not human. The Peti. I am Nanda, Nandasena. Formerly I was your wife. For having been abusive, I went hence to the Peta world. Nandasena. Now what wicked deed was committed by body, speech, or mind? In consequence of what karma/act have you gone from here to the Peta world? The Peti. I was with anger and rough in speech, and I also showed no reverence to you. Therefore, for using abusive language, I went from here to Peta world. Nandasena. Come, I give you a cloak. Put on this garment. When you have put it on, come, I will lead you home. Clothes and food and drink you shall obtain if you come home. Yon will see your sons, and you shall see your naughty daughter. The Peti. What is given by your hand into mine does not benefit me. But as regards the monks, who follow moral precepts, free from passion, and are learned in truth, feed them with food and drink and transfer to me the merit of the donation. Then I shall be happy and blessed in the fulfillment of all desires. Then promising with the words, very well, he made abundant donations. Food, drink, solid food, clothes, dwellings, umbrellas, perfumes, wreaths, and various kinds of sandals. After he had refreshed with food and drink, the monks who were abounding in the moral precepts, free from passion, and learned, he transferred to her the virtue of the gift. Immediately after that, when the credit for this was transferred to her, the result came to pass. Of the gift, this was the fruit. Food, clothes, and drink. Then pure, having clean clothes, wearing the finest Benares cloth, bedecked with various garments and ornament, she approached her husband. Nandasena asked her. O Devi, you are of shining appearance, you who are illuminating all the regions like the morning star. Because of what merit do you have such an appearance? On account of what is happiness your portion here, and why fall to your lot whatever pleasures are dear to the heart? I ask you, Devi, Great One, you who have become like human, what good deed have you done? Why have you such radiant majesty, and why does your splendor illuminate all the regions? The Peti. I am Nanda, Nandasena. Formerly I was your wife. For having committed an evil deed, I went from here to the Peta world. Through the gift given by you, I rejoice, being free from fear from any quarter. May you live long, householder, with all your kinsfolk. May you attain the abode free from sorrow and passion, the dwelling of those who have free will power. Here living a dhamma/righteous life and giving donations, householder, following morality, may you remove the stains of heart, together with their roots and enter heaven blameless. So this way Nanda obtained divine wealth and divine abode with the help of Nandasena. The lay disciple told this story to monks, monks told this to Bhagway. Buddha made it a subject of his discourse about wealth. This became a teaching for the people's benefit. The story of Mathakundali. This has been already told in the Vimanavathu. Hence it is to be understood by that. The story of Kanha. While the teacher was staying at Jetavana, he told this story. At Savatthi, the son of a certain lay disciple died. The afflicted father could neither bathe nor eat nor mind his business, nor serve the Buddha. Talking confusedly, he would say, "Where is my dear boy, who left me behind? Why he has gone before us." As the teacher was surveying the world at dawn, he saw that that man was destined for the fruits of Sotapatti. On the following day, surrounded by a group of monks, he walked around in Savatthi to beg for alms. After his meal, he went with Ananda, his attendant, to the door of the man's haunts. Thereupon his household told the lay disciple and brought him into the presence of the teacher. When the latter saw him sitting at one side, he said, "Lay disciple, are you in mourning?" He replied, "Yes, Reverend Sir." Buddha lay disciple, the wise men of old did not grieve for a dead son, after they had heard a story of the sages. Then being entreated by the head of the house, he told this story. Once upon a time in the city of Dwaravati there were 10 royal brothers, Vasudeva, Baladeva, Chandadeva, Suryadeva, Agadeva, Varanadeva, Ajana, Pajana, Gatapandita, and Ankara. Of these, a son of the great king Vasudeva died. The monarch, overcome with grief, neglected all his obligations, and making an Anjali salutation to the bed, he lay down, talking nonsense. At that time Gatapandita thought, "No one else besides me is able to dispel my brother's grief. With a tact I shall remove his sorrow." So he assumed the appearance of a madman, and looking at the sky, he roamed through the entire city, saying, "Give me a hair, give me a hair." Then the whole city thought, Gatapandita has gone mad. At that time, the king's counsellor, Rohaniya by name, went to King Vasudeva, and opened conversation with him by this stanza. "Arise, Kanha! Why are you lying down? What good the dreams of sleep do to you? He who is your own brother, your heart and right eye, is overpowered by winds. Gata is speaking nonsense, Kesva." The teacher continued. When he heard this statement of Rohaniya, Kesva with a flurried look arose, oppressed with grief for his brother. Then the king came down from the terrace, and went to meet Gatapandita. He held him fast with both hands, and in the conversation with him, said, "Why now like a mad one do you roam through the whole city of Dwaravati and mutter, 'A hair, a hair'? What kind of hair do you want? I will have a hair made for you of gold, of jewels, of copper, of silver, also of precious stones, and coral. There are also other little rabbits running in the woods and forest. These also I will send to you. What kind of hair do you want?" Gatapandita: "I do not want these hairs, the rabbits that inhabit the earth. The hair of the moon I wish. That one bring down to me, Kesva." Then the king heard him, he was distressed at the thought beyond a doubt, "My brother has gone mad," and said, "Now my kinsman, you will surely throw away your sweet life. You yearn for something that is not to be desired in that you wish for the hair of the moon." When Gatapandita had heard the words of the king, he stood still saying, "If, Kanha, you are so wise as you teach another, why do you still today mourn for your son that died in the past?" As he stood in the middle of the road, he spoke as follows: "I indeed desire that which is intelligible, but you mourn for that which is not intelligible." Then in expounding to him Dhamma, he said, "This is not possible for man or even for a spirit, but this is unattainable that the son born should not die. It is not possible with incantations, nor with drugs from roots, nor with herbs, nor with wealth, Kanha, to bring here the departed one whom you mourn. The very wealthy, those owning many goods, also those possessing kingdoms, and the warriors, they who are opulent with abounding riches, these also are not free from old age and death. The Kshatriyas, the Brahmans, the Vaishyas, the Sudras, the Chandalas, the Pukyusas, both these and others with their lineage, they too are not free from old age and death. They who recite a charm, the 6 parts which were thought out by Brahmans, both these and others with their knowledge, these also are not free from old age and death. Verily the rishis also who are rightly saints, ascetics who have subdued themselves, these also, the ascetics leave the body at the proper time. They who have realized truth, the arahants, and they who are free from human passion, cast aside this body at the end of their good and evil deeds. Thus Gotapandita expounded to him Dhamma. When the king had heard him, the pangs of his grief were gone and his mind was serene. In praising Gotapandita, he said, "Verily, me, burning, being like a fire over which ghee had been poured, you sprinkled with water, as it were. Now I put an end to all my pain. Verily, you drew from me the sting, the grief that was rooted in my heart, you who dispelled from me. Overcome with sorrow, the mourning for my son. Now have I laid aside my grief. Calm am I and serene. I neither mourn nor weep since I heard your words. So do the wise who are compassionate. They turn us away from grief, just as Gita did to his eldest brother. Whoever has such companions and attendants, they follow with encouraging words, as did Gita did to his eldest brother." The teacher repeated this sermon and said, "Thus, lay disciple, the wise men of old removed grief for a son, after having heard a story of the sages." Then in explaining the truths, he told the Jetavana of the incident. At the end of the discourse, the lay disciple was established in the fruits of Sotapatti. Note: please see Jetavana No. Gotapandita was later reborn as Gautam Buddha, and his elder brother Krishna was reborn as the Sariputra. Sariputra became one of the foremost disciples of Buddha, attained enlightenment, became an arahant and attained nirvana. Sariputra was appointed as the commander of the faith by Buddha. Links: Story of Gotapandit, Gita Jetavana, Story of Ankur, Padavathu, Dhanapala, the rich merchant. While the teacher was staying at Jetavana, he told this story. Before the Buddha was born, there was in the kingdom of Dasana in the city of Irreligious, a rich merchant Dhanapalaka, who was unbelieving, irreligious, mean, and heretical. His works can be understood from the following text. At his death he was reborn as a Peta in a desert wilderness. Tormented by hunger and thirst, he wandered here and there. So in the time when Buddha was born in the world and had started illuminating the Dhamma, some merchants who lived at Savatthi filled 500 wagons with goods, and having gone to Uttarapatha, sold their merchandise. There then they loaded on their carts goods for the return journey. They set out on the homeward road and at evening arrived at the foot of a certain tree. Then they unharnessed their oxen and made their abode fertile night. Then that Peta, who was tormented by thirst, came to that place to get something to drink, and not obtaining even a drop, he uttered a cry. When the merchants saw him, they asked him, "Naked and of hideous appearance are you, thin and with your veins visible. Your ribs stand out, and you are emaciated. Now who are you, sir?" The Peta: "I, venerable sirs, am a Peta, an unfortunate denizen of Yama's world. Since I had done evil I went from this world to the region of the Petas." The merchants: "Now what evil was done with your body, speech, or mind? Because of what act have you gone from here to the world of the Petas?" The Peta: "There is a city of the Dasanas, famous, known by the name of Irreligious. There I formerly was a rich merchant. By the name of Dhanapala they knew me. 80 cartloads of gold belonged to me. I had abundant gold and many pearls and cat's eye gems. To such an extent was I the owner of great wealth. But I did not like to give. When I took my meals, I locked my door so that the beggars should not see me. Unbelieving and miserly was I, avaricious and abusive. I used to restrain many of those who were charitable and were active, saying, 'There is no reward for giving. Where is the fruit of self-restraint? The lotus ponds, the wells, and the planted pleasure gardens, the wayside watering places, and the passages it. The place hard to cross, I have destroyed. So I, not virtuous in my deeds, left the world as an evildoer. I was reborn in the Peta region and am afflicted with hunger and thirst. It is 55 years since I died. I do not recognize either food or drinking water. As the withholding so is the loss, so the withholding. For the Pitas, they say, know it. As the withholding, so is the loss. I, in the past, withheld. I did not give away many treasures. Although deeds of charity are a duty, I did not provide a refuge for myself. Now I feel bitter remorse, and I am burdened with the fruit of my own deeds. After 4 months will come my death. Down to the exceedingly severe and terrible hell I shall fall. It is 4-cornered and has 4 doors. It is divided into parts by measure. It is surrounded by an iron fence and is covered on the top with iron. Its iron floor is glowing with heat, flashing in all sides for 100 yojanas. It stands for all time. There for a long time I shall experience grievous pain and the fruit of my evil deeds. Therefore, I bewail this reality. For this reason I tell you something excellent, all of you who are assembled here. Do not commit a sinful act, either openly or in secret. If this evil deed you do or will perform, grief will not leave you, even though you fly up in the air to escape it. Be respectful to mother and father. In the family, honor the elders. Give reverence to monks and Brahmans. Thus, you will come to heaven. Not in the sky nor in the middle of the ocean, not even though one enter the caves of the mountains, is found that region of the earth where one could stand and free himself from his evil deeds. The merchants felt sorry for him and sprinkled water in his mouth. But, on account of the wicked deeds of that Pita, he could not swallow. They asked him, "Now can't you get just a little relief?" He replied, "Yes, when this evil deed is destroyed. If a donation be given either to Tathagata or to the disciples of Tathagata and the virtue of the donation be transferred to me, then I shall be released from this Pita existence." When the merchants had heard him, they went to Savatthi and told the Buddha, gave for 7 days a great donation to the Sangha of the monks there, at whose head was the Buddha, and ascribed the gift to the Pita. Buddha then gave those merchants a Dhamma discourse and the wise advice of staying away from the evil of greed and miserliness and instead follow the path of donation and of good deeds. Story of a rich miserly man Khuddhaka. While the teacher was staying at Jetavana, he told this story of Khuddhaka. At Benares, Khuddhaka was a householder, unbelieving, irreligious, miserly, mean and disrespectful towards meritorious action. At death he was born among the Pitas, having an ugly figure with rotting and bleeding flesh and with shrunken skinny head. His daughter Anula was living in the house of her husband at Andhakavinda. Anxious to entertain Brahmans in the name of her father, she prepared rice and other food as a gift. When the